ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first rum on a couch that's not on my couch. And the reason why, I came across a brand new company here in Manchester City Centre itself, and I wanted to actually decide to take rum on a couch a bit more outside and to go to the production place of these guys, Witch Kings. And I've got with me the two owners of Witch Kings itself, who I thought would be a really good opportunity to have a bit of a chat with them, a little bit longer than it normal as well, so this won't be a 15-minute one, to go through the range and understand a little bit more about what Witch Kings is all about. So, gentlemen, please introduce yourself to the Rumfest audience.
Hello there, this is Maxi.
And this is Bizzle.
How's it going?
So, guys, who are you? How have you got to where you are today? What is Witch Kings all about?
Who are we? That's a question I ask myself on a regular basis.
I stopped.
So we are, like I said, brand new sort of rum liqueur company, started by ourselves, and we just two friends, old school friends, who go to Manchester and started this company in lockdown. We've been thinking about doing a rum liqueur brand for about 2 years, putting ideas back and forth. Lockdown came about, and we had the recipes, we had this concept, and then it just seemed like the perfect time to sort of kind of focus on it and get going.
Yeah. Awesome. So was this during the first lockdown or the one we're literally out of now?
Yeah, first lockdown.
Lockdown, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've had about, what, good, I'd say 6-7 months of perfecting 3 different bottlings, if I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So is it, obviously I know a lot of guys who are watching this, obviously have tried a lot of different things, but maybe not understanding how, not saying easy, but how complex and how logistical nightmare, I think we've spoken before, of how things are. So give us an idea, what was sort of the process in your mind to go from essentially paper to bottles itself? Is it as straightforward as it sounds?
First, we had to learn the industry.
Yeah.
that was the thing. I mean, it was learning exactly what you need to do to start. You need to start a rum brand, and all of the licensing and everything that needs to be put in place. Especially for small producers, it's sort of geared. It's really geared against that sort of the startup in terms of. How much actually you need to do in terms of the legislation and the licensing, and we needed to know about whether our bottling conformed to certain things, and finding a premises as well during lockdown. It was a lot. The first 2 months were basically paperwork, business plans. Research, we actually had the products before we had the business.
So obviously the product's been in your mind since the beginning. The liquid I'm going to try today, is that pretty much exactly how you'd expect it to be, or was there some challenges to get maybe the balance right? Obviously we're going to talk about the rum base in a minute as well, but was it as straightforward? Is it literally as you wanted it to be from your beginning of ideas?
I'd say it's gone further than where we
so it's evolved.
It's definitely evolved. So we had an initial idea, and then Max had been developing that with his sort of chef experience there, and then once we kind of we kept it very agile, and once we sort of established our base spirit supplier, ice, then that meant we could really understand exactly what flavors we're working with. So then we could make the final adjustments of balances and processes. Until that point, we had one idea of what it could be with a much cheaper, lower quality sort of rum as our supply.
Which was the original. The original one.
Yeah.
We were just using supermarket rum to because we were focusing on the infusion of the fruit recipe. And then when we decided that we're going to use a premium base spirit, the ninefold rum, we were then we were tweaking the recipe in order to create the pairing, in order to make that kind of evolve the Witch Kings flavour into what it is today. There's always kind of certain things you need to think about in terms of doing it on a much larger scale. we have the idea of the flavour profiles in our heads of what we want. You know, it's a lot different than making 5 bottles at home to making, you know, an 80 bottle batch.
Sure.
Which is where we're at the moment, sort of batching about 80 bottles at a time.
Awesome. So obviously you've just mentioned about Ninefold. So obviously I've not yet to do Ninefold Distillery as a rum on a couch, but it is an idea of mine to head up to Scotland and see kit directly. But obviously, how did you come across Ninefold? Was it something you've heard about, or did you try it and thought this could make a really good base compared to the supermarket ones we've tried?
We spoke to a lot of our contacts, and you know, we were thinking like we want to find something that's makes us more us, you know, that completes what we're making it. And we went to a lot of our friends like Greg at Tickles and Speaking Code guys. They we discussed a lot of options. We were thinking about agricoles at one point, and like there's so many different routes we could have taken. But I think in the end, just a bit of social, like just looking at a lot of sort of logistically and flavor wise, like what would work best. And you know, we're not at a place where we're going to be importing, you know, shipping containers just for ourselves from anywhere else. So it's really helpful to find kit, find Ninefold, and like being able to make those sort of first batches after some discussions and sort of being like, oh wow, yeah, this brings everything together really nicely and gets it's a sweet spot in a number of points.
We had 3 sort of key points that we needed from a rum supplier. We needed it to be, we really didn't want to go outside of the UK. We wanted to be as local as possible. We didn't want to be buying stuff that's already bottled, and we didn't want so much wasted packaging, you know, so we wanted to kind of it to be as economical as possible, and we wanted something that was really, really going to match our flavour profiles, and Ninefold Rum, when it came out, was really, it's got a real sweetness and mango-y, caramelly, sort of beautiful flavour to his white rum. And then we just really reached out to him, and we really got stuck in that he's really passionate about the rum industry as a whole, and kind of, you know, redefining this flavour of rum. You know, how people see white rum is as a cheap, the cheap kind of thing that gives you a hangover, that's done by all of these, you know, the companies that's really been brought out.
Yeah.
But then there's actually so much craft white rum coming about, and to be able to kind of partner with one of those rather than a big brand was real. It just worked out perfectly.
Amazing. Okay. So obviously you've got yourself a fantastic young rum from Scotland as your base, which from what you were saying is improved on your original idea. So obviously the flavour profiles that you had in mind at the very beginning, what are we looking at here from the 3 bottlings you have released at the moment?
In terms of flavour profiles?
In terms of the flavours, so obviously you were saying that the Ninefold works amazingly well, but obviously in my mind you've got to get that balance correct. So the balance of flavours you have here, what sort of flavours are we looking at? Are they quite unique, or are they quite flavours you don't expect to see in rum?
A bit of both. It's kind of trying to not rely on, because there's a lot of like rum branding where it's kind of either very tropical or it's very, very spiced, and it's like, okay, but then is there, what's going on elsewhere in the world, in the alcohol world at the moment? For instance, gin, like it's all about these botanicals and these much more subtle, nuanced flavours, and that's the case in a few other sort of these spirits coming out as well, like and leaning more towards that nuance, and it's not about like oversaturating it with like, just obvious flavour, like, you can get like, a really, really powerful strawberry drink, but that doesn't necessarily make it the drink you want to be, drinking. It doesn't have it's not necessarily as refined. So we're trying to think of how to make each bottle into a flavour concept as a, a fully balanced triangle of flavours, as opposed to just being, a one flavour slammer. And we definitely, achieved that like over various iterations.
So I mean, it was all about, and they are unique flavour profiles that we're bringing out. We obviously want to bring out a product that is completely unique and it is, our kind of thing. And when Bizzle says flavour concepts, that's why we haven't named it a peach, ginger and lime rum. We've named it, Sunset Solstice, because we're focusing on the emotive of the flavour. So you've got Sunset Solstice, which is that really syrupy peach, and then quite like fiery ginger, with the lime just sort of bringing that tartness through. So it almost kind of works on, we found, in the same way that the syrupy that you get with a lot of sort of tonics, where the tonics kind of bring those kind of botanicals out of gins. We found that the ginger really cuts through there with the lime, and then the peach just gives it something that no kind of gin and tonic that you would get from that, and you get the really syrupiness. Then we've got the strawberry, lemon, and chili, which is Fires of the Wild. You've got this really, really sweet, intense strawberry flavour, that's really, really nice, and then like it sits in your mouth, and then as you swallow, the kick of the chili comes at the end and pushes through. And this we find really, just with the sweetness and then that chili coming at the end, it's even the non-chili heads really, really like it.
I'm intrigued about that because I'm not a massive fan of heat and chili, but I love strawberry. So I can see where you're coming from, and I'm hoping when I try this in a minute, it will come across like that as well.
Yeah, totally. And we'll see what it, see what it does. I mean, we found that we were kind of trying to pair them with things that people would kind of recognise. So, the Sunset Solstice was your gin and tonic, with the rum and tonic. Your Fires of the Wild replaced gin in a Negroni, and you get this sweet, spicy Negroni.
Okay.
And then you've got Bohemian Dreams, which is just like that's the kind of super, just mellow, really syrupy. That's probably our biggest actual. That was the one that came at the end, and it's been selling the most because it's blueberry, pineapple, and mint, and the amount of fresh fruit that we use in each of them really get all of those flavours through. And the mint is kind of marries the whole lot together.
Yeah. So obviously, with just saying then, you're using fresh fruit in this. Now, obviously these are classed as rum liqueurs, which is great to see on the label. You have named it as such. But obviously, so everything is fresh that you add to the 94 rum itself?
Yeah.
Is it all sourced locally, I guess? As close as possible?
As good as we can get. Local suppliers.
Local suppliers. So we use.
Also, I know as we said before, we're in the city centre.
We use the local suppliers who go to the markets. We have their buyers and everything like that, and they're really good at telling us, sort of saying, this isn't very good at this at the moment, but I've got this, and so we'll really get into the kind of the fruit lore. And I'm quite into kind of my produce picking as an ex-chef,
Fair enough. So what ABV are we looking at these? Are they consistent across all three?
Yeah, 20%.
20%?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we mark it out at 20%.
Amazing stuff. Well, I'm intrigued. So if we could, whichever way that you feel in order.
Start blue, but Bohemian Dreams.
Bohemian Dreams?
Bohemian Dreams.
Yeah. Keep it light.
So obviously, looking at the label itself, I know it's something when I first came across you guys, instantly caught my eye. So can you explain, what sort of inspiration behind the labelling? I know what you were saying to me at the beginning was it's kind of a hybrid of yourselves anyway, to sort of project yourselves onto the bottle as it is yours. So it's what sort of, how do you get from you guys, onto a label via, was it two designers you were saying?
Yeah, two different designers. So we had reasonably sized. So we got originally one of our old school friends who arts under the name Hazard One. She did the initial logo for us, which was something Max worked with her on. Kind of trying to get the right kind of sort of personality across in the face, but without linking too much to anything that people already know. It's like it's something it's almost like recognizable and timeless, but without immediately making you think, oh, there's a stereotype there, or there's anything like that.
Yeah.
Which isn't easy to to avoid in a lot of respects. But then it was a few iterations of that. We did some market research to just to kind of see what people felt of it as well. There were a couple of changes that were made as a result of the research.
We didn't want to offend anyone.
Yeah.
With our branding, but and I think that a lot of companies focus on either history or they focus on sort of a location. And with us doing neither and creating something that was fantasy, we really needed to make sure that the tone, our tone of voice and what we were trying to do was positive and that wouldn't be detrimental in terms of the branding.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So this is Bohemian, isn't it?
This is Bohemian Dreams, yeah.
It's got a beautifully intense aroma to this one as well. And the good thing is you can get the rum.
Yeah,
despite it being 20%, is there any added sugar to any of these as well?
Yeah, so each bottle, so obviously it fits within the liqueur bracket, so there is added sugar.
Ooh, hello. Carry on. I was going to keep drinking this. So
it fits within within the liqueur bracket, so there is added sugar in the process. What we actually found is when we partnered with Ninefold is we actually reduced the sugar content because of the sweetness of the rum over what we were using before. Over your agricals or your other kind of rums that are a bit more kind of punchy. With this being really sweet and a nice, his is a white rum that's a straight drinker.
Yeah.
And so we actually managed to bring down the sugar content and just allow all the sugars in the fruit and everything to really kind of play through.
Yeah, see, there's quite a lot of caramel taste in the Ninefold, and we found that straight when we brought it and we mixed it together. It's like, oh right, okay, we need to account for that.
Yeah.
But it's added to it really nicely.
The first one came out quite with the original recipe came out like quite jammy.
Yeah.
It's still really good, but it came out quite jammy, and we just felt that kind of detracted from what we were trying to get at, which is that really fresh fruit flavour.
Wow. I have to admit, you can't get the sweetness, which in my mind is good. You still get the rum on the flavour profile. Mm-hmm. You definitely get the mint, you definitely get the blueberry, you definitely get the pineapple. Which, again, in my mind, from a cocktail point of view, I've never really put anything like the dark fruit with pineapple. I've done it with mints, like twist and mojitos, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I suppose it makes sense. Pineapple has that beautiful grilled element towards it, and it has that. In my mind, that's the texture I'm getting. It's like licking a very fresh piece of pineapple.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
That's what I describe it.
That's what we want. We want people to be transported to
sticking
their head in a fruit bowl.
In the centre of Manchester.
In the centre of Manchester, yeah.
I'm actually very impressed with this. But the main thing that came to my mind was the lack of thickness. Because my experience with rum liqueurs is, especially something that's heading into the sort of 19-18% region, is you're thinking it's going to be heavy on the sugar. It's great to hear the fresh ingredients, but it does come across as fresh, which is fantastic. But I was thinking it's going to be like a syrup. Sugar syrup type, especially if it's a homemade version as well, it's going to have that real gloopy feel to it.
Yeah,
complete opposite.
It's because we're not trying to hide any inferior produce.
Yeah.
Within the brand.
It's great, obviously, on the label. I know you guys at the moment can't read the label, but you are more than happy to say it's Ninefold Distillery as well. So that transparency is key across all stages, which is fantastic to hear. Especially in this day and age of so many people bringing something out, even here in Manchester as well, and not willing to mention where things originate from.
Right.
So it lacks that credibility.
Totally. I mean, even with Ninefold, he said, it's produced. It's a rum that's produced within the UK, but obviously, with rum, it's really, really hard to get all of your ingredients from. It's like you need the sugar cane, and the sugar and the molasses and everything.
We're still the UK. We're still limited with some.
Yeah.
Especially up in Scotland.
Yeah. We're still trying to figure out how the rain in Manchester affects the produce of rum.
We could say non-existent. All right. Well, that's a great start in my mind. So what should be next?
So we'd go Sunset Solstice next.
Cool.
Start turning the fire on.
Alright, start.
Okay. So, to be fair, why do you say that? What made you expect this one?
It's got the ginger, you'll notice that. Some people love ginger and we're really excited for them to try it because it's like, it's rare that you find this much ginger in an alcoholic drink that's not over layered with sugar like a lot of these sort of ginger variations are. They don't really trust that people actually like ginger almost. They're having like the tiniest hint of ginger and it's just a bit weak. So what we've got the ginger in there. It sort of gives you the heat, it gives you the warming feel. That's why sunset solstice is very much that kind of. It's really nice with, it could be a nice summer evening. It could be a winter warmer. It's a lot of options and it's quite versatile in its usage. And you could definitely. Something for all of them is that they can all be really versatile in cocktails because they're taking so many elements that you'd normally put in a cocktail separately, your sugar, your fruit, your alcohol, but it's already all in there. So instead of picking up 3 bottles, you could just be picking up 1 bottle and that's half your drink sorted, which could change a bartender's life if we're on a busy bar on Friday night. So there's we've got your fire in there anyway. That's it's not quite like the chili, but it's still it's got the warming feel of the ginger.
It does, and it's quite a gradual warmth as well. It doesn't hit me straight away, which in my mind's good. I love a good ginger beer, but I prefer ginger ale. It has a bit more of a longevity towards it. It's not going to hit me in the face and pop me off. But this has a beautiful gradual warmth to it, and it's also not the only thing I get. I still get the rum, which in my mind, whenever I try anything that's a liqueur, or it's essentially flavoured or spiced, if I can't taste the rum, what have you done to it? Or what are you trying to hide, shall we say, as well? So it's great, I can still get the ninefold. It's definitely get the ginger for sure. And again, it's thin. It's thin enough for me to, what's the word to use? Attract those flavours towards it and not detract away from everything else. So I can't believe this is still 20%.
I'd like you to try it with with some London Essence tonic because we have so London so
product placement.
So we did really kind of we've been obviously drinking a lot of this. This is what we drink, and which is one of the benefits of having a drink. And we just have it with tonic water at home, don't we? We have them with tonic water, that's our kind of drink. And then we were like, well, that's actually it's a rum liqueur, 20%, so it's a double. You have this in a bar, it's a double serve, and you just mix it. Have it with a tonic. Really, really simple mixer. It's great in cocktails and everything like that, but realistically, who at home, makes cocktails every night or when they come home from work or, in the evening, they just want something kind of straightforward. So we've kind of paired them with a different tonic, and this one especially, Sunset Solstice, just with the kind of
this is grapefruit rosemary.
Tonic, we felt that paired really nice.
It does, because you still get the heat from the ginger and the rum from the rum itself, but you do get that light aromatic element with the rosemary. The thyme?
Grapefruit.
Okay, read the label. Sure, it's 20%. So so it's a pairing quite nicely. It's balanced itself out without losing anything on either side either. Which again, it's quite difficult for a mixer because traditionally with rum, I've noticed obviously it's rum and coke, rum and ginger beer, you're kind of 2 classics. But I know it wasn't London Essence, but the prior rum and couch I've just done was Liqueur drinks. And again, they have different flavour profiles as well as a classic ginger ale, ginger beer, and so on. And it was an interesting aspect because one of the biggest selling serves I had at my old bar was rum and tonic. And it freaked people out because it wasn't normal. It's Judas G and say, but if you actually have rum and tonic with a great young rum, I had a slice of grapefruit as a swig of thyme. Well, it's amazing because the aromas from those flavour profiles and the tonic as well with the quinine just paired, didn't overpower like a cola or a ginger beer can. So a young rum had an opportunity to go with something as a longer serve, not just cocktail.
Well, that's a huge part of seeing in the gin industry and across all the bars, the perfect serve. The concept of that has become such a such a big thing. And it's not just, you get your gin, your tonic and a squeeze of lemon. No, you get a goblet and you get all your, really specifically paired botanicals, whatever it is with it. And I love that. And I think that there's a lot of room for that in these other spirits that we're just not getting because the industry, has still has blinkers on, or the market has blinkers on, in terms of it's just, Coke and ginger beer, which is, it's a different thing entirely.
So the garnishes are so important in that as well.
Would you garnish something like this in a rum?
You can't.
This, for example?
You can. I mean, it's quite open. Like anything citrusy will do it really. We tried a bit of grapefruit in, we tried a bit of lemon, tried a bit of lime. After a certain point of it, we're saying all that, after a certain point as well, there is just a bit of like, you just do it, just have it how you like it, try it, and you'll quickly find your favourite way.
I mean, we candy limes here. So, and we all the bottles that we sell online come with a small little, 2 or 3 candied limes just for people to try.
Nice.
It's not something that we can probably mass produce in terms of getting them out, but we just candy them, dehydrate them and everything here, and we just have a little set to kind of get you on.
Yeah, they've been working well, the candied lime. People like them in the box as well, an extra little treat when they place an order.
Okay.
So just like a nice lime.
Actually, does that a little bit too, you're right.
Yeah, it's quite nice and subtle. I think it's because you don't want to put something in that's too then citrusy, but then ruins the balance that way, or then too sweet, and then it goes the other way. So candied lime does get in there. I've been considering things like what if we put a bit of salt on it as well. There's like I think I haven't tried this yet, but in my head I'm thinking there's almost like a tequila slammer element that can come in, but it would taste totally different because like we don't have the agave or anything. But there's all like some of these profiles can start coming in. We've got some interesting new flavour recipes in the works that will be hopefully be released at some point in 2021. But we're keeping it very, very quiet for now while we test it.
Very quiet indeed.
Oh yeah, don't tell anyone.
It's a good flavour mix in terms of how we come up with the flavours, because obviously I'm a chef, so I'm not a bartender, so I'm not coming at these from a bartender's point of view. I'm coming here from mixing fruits together and what I think will work and the processes and how I can lay up flavour profiles in terms of the liqueur. So I'm coming in from that kind of point of view, and then Bizzle's coming from like the bartender kind of cocktail kind of point of view of saying, okay, this will he'll like say, cool, well this profile's there, and then I can go away and edit the profiles and mix them together. So we discuss things quite conceptually, which is why that we call our flavor concepts.
Ah, right, okay, that makes sense. Just to sort of backtrack a little bit, obviously this expression of luminescence works really, really good with summer solstice. What do you recommend with the Bohemian that I tried first?
Yeah, so with that one we're about to test because we haven't got the full range of London Essence right quite yet, but I'm pretty sure that pomelo and black pepper they've got will be excellent with it.
I can see it, yeah.
But then we've currently been doing it with the normal tonic that they have, which has an interesting story in itself, because people might look at it and go, oh, it's not light tonic, but actually because of the way when we met Harry the rep, because of the way it's juniper distillate, it's distilled, so it's a different kind of fructose. It's got sugar content, but it's essentially functionally it's the same as a light tonic. So we really liked that about it, because we didn't want something that would be adding a lot of extra sugar again, like into
a light tonic with it. A light tonic with Bohemian Dreams, just to kind of accept, nothing that's going to overpower it, nothing that's too sweet, because they are liqueurs and they are sweet. They've got a liqueur. I mean, the has to have about 50 to 150 grams of sugar to be put as a liqueur.
Yeah.
So just a nice light tonic that'll won't overpower the flavours, but will just allow them to come out. So just like a nice stage for them to perform.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got one more left. Fires of the Wild.
Fires of the Wild. Yes. This is my baby. This is the OG. This is the first one that ever got made.
Okay, all right.
And it was made. I was working on a restaurant development down in Devon, and we were doing. The whole concept comes from. We're working on a restaurant down in Devon, and they replaced the entire bar, soft drinks, with homemade cordials.
Oh, okay.
From fresh fruit from the area. And I was like, this is brilliant. I'm going to go home and make this thing that I can mix with rum and do the kind of and do this like all the methods and everything like that and get all these flavors into rum. And so this is the Fires of the Wild is like the OG.
Wow. Okay. So it's obviously strawberry, chili, and lemon.
Yeah.
Though, as I said before, so not a massive kind of chili and heat. But I think from what you were saying, it's not going to be as hard hitting as maybe I'm expecting.
No, it's not for the heat heads as much as people might expect. So there's still the spicy there. You will taste it, but it's not going to be sending you for the taps or anything. It's we are thinking maybe we probably will do a special edition super spicy thing at some point, just because it's got to be done. But we still want it to be refined. Like there's a lot of spicy alcohol out there with really cheap alcohol in again, this kind of thing, where they haven't, done anything beyond the novelty. And we want to, ensure that if we do something, it's not just for the novelty of it being super spicy. It's got to have, class to it as well, I guess. Something like that.
Okay, all right. Well, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you want to rinse your glass?
So, I'm guessing you've probably paired this up with another London Essence.
Yeah, so this one works excellently with a bitter orange and bitter orange and elderflower works really nice with that. And again, it's kind of inspired by the Negroni variation we mentioned earlier, where we replace the gin in a Negroni with Fires of the Wild to make this kind of sweet, spicy Negroni. And yeah, that's partly inspired this combination here with the bitter orange in it. And we found that it still kind of worked in this way. It sort of it lengthened the drink in the appropriate way. I think that was a big, not concern for us, but one of the things we noticed initially was we were just drinking it on the rocks on ice at first, and then you just drink it too quick. So it's really helpful to have something just to make it last a bit longer.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a product that someone will go through, if they're at home, they'll start drinking it before you know it.
It's interesting because I suppose I'd expect. Now I love strawberries. Strawberry is the first thing I pick up straight away, but it has, to be brutally honest, a slightly thicker element towards it. Now, I don't know if that's just down to maybe the intensity of the strawberries you use. Obviously, I get it's fresh. And I think a lot of people, especially in cocktails, expect I want a strawberry daiquiri or a strawberry pina colada, and it's predominantly syrups.
Right.
Now, whether you're going to use fresh produce within that syrup is a different question to ask, but the vast majority are mimicked to have that flavour profile. And I think a lot of people's expectations is if you use a real strawberry in a daiquiri, A, it hasn't got the intensity of the colour, but also hasn't got the intensity of the flavour because it's still an acidic plant. So it's interesting how I pick up a bit more of a syrupy element to this. I've got chilli straight off. That's interesting. Going back to it, I've got more chilli coming through. I don't know if it's maybe the. Is it? I'd put this in the right way. Is it because it's fresh? Does it settle in any way, or is it sort of?
We do a lot of mixing and filtration. There's sediment, and we do advise sometimes there will be a bit in the bottle, so give it a shake.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be anything like that too much. Is maybe what you're picking up on. I'd say it's more likely the fact that we are truly extracting the juice from the strawberries. It's not like. For instance, you're making a daiquiri live in a bar, you're not really putting it through a steeping process or a maceration process or anything like that. You're grinding the strawberries and you've got the flesh and maybe you've got some, it's a puree, but it's a pulp, it's a very different thing. We're actually extracting the juice, and that will have a very different consistency, especially when they're mixed with everything else.
True.
That's what I would say it's from.
Yeah.
Definitely get a lot more of the chili on the palate for sure. I don't get as much rum as much, but I think it's down to my palate, not massive fan of spice, so it sort of amplifies a little bit for me. But you do get an undertaking of the rum. It's definitely there. but in comparison to the first two, not as much for me.
Well, and you can soften it with tonic, you know.
Oh really?
Yeah, you can soften it with
I feel like we've got a product placement where I just say that. Please tell me more.
Well, it's the same, you know, when you put this into a cocktail. I mean, actually, you know, frozen daiquiris was one of the things that we made with this, and it's on our Instagram. Was one of the recipes, cocktail recipes. You know, you can have it as if you put the chili on with it, the more you kind of it's going to just sort of like fill in those other flavors. You know.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're drinking it by yourself, it's going to be a very intense chili flavour because we didn't want to lose the chili when it went into anything else. When it went into sort of a tonic or you know, so we really had discussions about the amount of chili that we wanted in it, and we didn't want to lose any chili from if it was used in a cocktail or if it was mixing.
No, that's probably what I say. As expected, adding the London Essence has obviously dialed down the intensity. You still get it for sure, but for me that's more on my palate.
Yeah. It's a bit more. It's like a dash of Tabasco or something on your food or something now instead of like spicy curry.
Yeah, because what we wouldn't want is it to be the straight sipper. You go, oh, there's a tiny bit of chili there, and then someone mixes it with tonic and the chili goes.
Yeah.
Like you've got to have the intensity there in order for it to showcase as it fits with other profiles and other flavours.
Yeah.
And if someone really can't handle chili, we figured in the end, like they shouldn't be ordering a drink with chili in it if they cannot handle the slightest percentage of chili. So we don't really need to cater for that crowd. So we can.
So that's what the other two are there for as well.
Exactly. We've got that there.
We've got 3 different drinks.
Yeah. 3 different directions.
And they're completely and they are completely different drinks.
They are very very different indeed. And
we've got some people. A lot of people have their favourites. And that's great. That's what we love that. And a lot of people they go in different ways. This is very much I would put into make a blueberry mojito with. This is very much a Negroni, or I do shorts with that. We did an old fashioned with it. It's great an old fashioned with a nice bourbon. Yeah. And this one's just great, nice. With a tonic or made dark and stormy. Some people who really like ginger beer, ginger, mix it with ginger beer and get that. So
the creativity is there. It's not a one-dimensional. You have to have it like this. You got to have it on its own or with London Essence. There's cocktails you can enjoy. And to be fair, like you say, an old-fashioned this with a splash of bourbon. Again, you don't really ever think of putting them two together in a classic tea drink. Never mind a rum liqueur as well. So it's great. It's not perceived as this is the only way, nothing else. You can do whatever you wish, because it's got that flexibility, which by the sound of it is a fantastic way of introducing Witch Kings to as many people as possible in 3 different ways of flavour profiles as well. That's really good, really good guys. Awesome. Well, I have to admit, my favourite is
Bohemian Dreams.
It's the party pleaser, isn't it?
I can see why. I mean, to be fair, now I've had this with some London Essence, I can appreciate the flavour profile as it comes anyway. But
I'd really like to make you a Negroni.
Please feel free.
Once you finish that, we've only got 1 glass.
Under pressure now.
Oh no! Now I feel like because just because I think I'm not a big fan of Negronis, but I love a Witch Kings Fires in the Wild Negroni. I can drink it all day.
It's good you say that, because something I tried to do with Marigot Bay, and something we tried to do at Rumfest as well with whatever bar is participating as the cocktail bar, which fingers crossed next year should still be live as well. It's great to have a bit of a different way of looking at a classic cocktail. I'm not a massive fan of Negronis back in the day, but then I realised there's other gins that have, or even a different vermouth that can add an intensity or a sweetness. I've got sweet tooth. So naturally I would go for something that's going to have lots of sugar. Probably why I like rum. Right. But a Negroni to me is the other end of the scale. But now my favourite cocktail is a spiced Negroni. Which I know it's not here, but it changes their spice from velvet flavour and And it's just, it blew my mind of how to approach a classic cocktail.
Totally.
But I wouldn't normally ask for in a bar. So I'm intrigued that you've sort of said a similar thing here.
I think that's been one of the main things I've learned from the drinks trade. Again thanks to Greg a lot. It's like, you know, I used to go and buy a bottle from him and ask him, how do you recommend this with ice, without ice? And it's like a whiskey. And you're like, it doesn't matter. If you like it one way, enjoy it. If people says you're wrong, but you're enjoying it that way, it's your taste buds, they're in your mouth, not theirs. So enjoy it.
So obviously, we've talked about Greg for a while.
Yeah.
Is this available at Tipples?
Not at the moment. We're still getting a whole sale and our whole routes to market.
So literally, it's as new as you said.
This is so new. It's only been around a couple of weeks. We're still doing all our calls. We've got on a few makers markets in the next few weeks in the northwest, which will be good. So we're going to be in.
It's going to be a lot of orange here. We've just been selling online on our website.
So that's the best way of picking
Best
it
way.
Right now, yeah, website witchkingsrum.com is the best way.
Amazing. Obviously, the guys and girls who are watching this will follow you guys on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So as you say, you'll have a full list of your makers market, so everyone can come meet you guys.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
We'll have a big list up and post that out. We've got a big sort of sharing competition, like and share competition with a few other Manchester independent producers, and Kit as well, who's not Manchester, but so we've got, you know, you can win a bottle of our rum, you can win a bottle of Kit's rum, you can win some free hot sauces from Lou's nearby, who makes hot sauces, maybe not for you, but really nice sort of craft hot sauce, doing a Christmas trilogy. And we've got 3 independent artists in Manchester as well, donating a range of prints and jewellery, so it's this really nice collaborative holiday hamper sort of promotion competition. So yeah, if it's that in time, it'd be great if you get involved with that. Or if not, you can look at the winner's photo with jealousy.
It's one of the great things about this whole process has been our collaboration with so many other brands. You know, there's so many, and that's what I love Manchester really is that there's so many brilliant small brands and companies, and we're big into the you know, we really want to promote the art scene, and that's a big part of our brand. So yeah, just pushing collaborations has been brilliant, and kind of being able to have these creative meetings with people and different brands and come together and put, you know, create stuff is fantastic.
Amazing. Well, obviously, we were talking before, the reason why Witch Kings got a hold of me a couple of weeks back, but obviously to be interested in getting involved in Manchester Rum Festival for 2021. But obviously, as you guys know, the 2020 version will be replicated next year. There may be 1 or 2 spaces I may be able to squeeze them in, depending on obviously how Boris allows. But fingers crossed, being able to be involved in some way either next year or definitely the year after, because I've got a very funny feeling. Well, it all depends on Mr. Groening, really. But I can see Witch Kings definitely being around for the vast immediate future for sure. Oh, I just not doing it.
So this is just you know, your classic Campari. 25, you know, just 1 shot of Campari, 1 shot of Antica Formula, and then a double shot of the Witch Kings Rum. Fires in the Wild.
Yep. Oh wow, that's really good.
So
and again, it's a different way of approaching.
It's slightly sweeter for those people, you know, Negroni is really on the other scale.
It does come across, yeah. It's not as dry as a gin Negroni. Yeah, I can enjoy that. That's really good. Well, gents, thank you very much for having me here today. For being the very first on the couch, not at the couch.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And to experience what Witch Kings is all about, to really hear and understand. And I'm hoping everyone who's been watching this has been able to really appreciate what you guys have done pretty much during lockdown.
Yes.
It's not a long time really, but
it's been a journey.
I can imagine what everything you've said so far. I can really see from the fresh flavour profiles to the fact you're using Nightfall Distillery as your base, and to get that balance of flavour profiles, which ticks my box, and a big marker pen as well. And to have 3 things, I mean, even this one, I know it's not my favourite as it comes, but you're proving to me that with a mixer like London Essence, really good Negroni to be fair, you can even approach, I can approach something that would not normally kind of go for but you proved to me that it does work in a different way as well.
It's good seeing you try it straight and then be like, kind of, oh, you know, I can appreciate, but it's not for me. And then how we could change your perception on it,
which
is
great,
because it's about that. It's a very intense flavour profile, but then when it softens around other things, it just sort of seems to kind of all come together.
Yeah. No, I'd appreciate that, and I'm hoping anybody else, whether it's the Makers Markets, at Rumfest itself, or any other opportunity to meet you guys once we're out of proper lockdown, you'd be able to do exactly the same scenario, especially in the bars, when people can start to be creative with these, whether it's a speaking code or any other venue you guys start to work with. So I'm hoping people will give it the benefit of the doubt to try something unique. Definitely from Manchester, the Scottish influence in there, the fresh fruits as well. So guys, I wish you all the best in regards to the journey of Witch Kings.
Yeah,
and,
thank you so much.
I'm going to finish this, I'm not going to lie.
Well, you can get it, you know, if anyone is interested in buying a bottle, they can do on our website if they don't manage to make it to any Makers Markets. www.witchkings.com.
Witchkingsrum.com.
Witch Kings Rum, sorry. www.witchkingsrum.com. Each bottle retails at £25 RRP. If you're looking for anything as well, is this going to come out sort of before Christmas? Tomorrow, perfect. So we've just started. This isn't the final design, but come next week, we're going to have a little 3 miniatures. It's going to come with some candied limes. It's going to come with a few Witch Kings Rum stickers, a little scroll, which is our kind of potionsy kind of scroll,
tonic water,
and a London Essence tonic water. So it'll be a really good gift. And you know, we've had some beautiful designs from some local designers who've done some watercolour glasses and everything.
Fantastic.
So they're going to sell at £12.
And that'll be available on the website as well.
And that'll be available on the website as well.
Amazing.
as soon as we can.
As soon as you can, yeah. Awesome stuff. Well, guys, I've been very, very impressed, and it's legitimately the first time I met yourselves today. Obviously, try Witch Kings. I'm purchasing a bottle of this, I'm not going to lie. Which is fantastic, and I'm loving this idea as well, to partner up with someone like London Essence, and again, to see the flavour profiles of a tonic, which if you haven't watched the Elixir drinks one prior, you know how much of a fan I am of trying to break away from the more traditional way of enjoying a rum. I think you guys have definitely done that, not just with the pairings, but with the flavour profiles you picked for your 3 bottlings, and hopefully more from what you sort of just said. Yeah. We're all on 2021. Let's just say as of today, it's next month. So.
Yeah. Like I say, it is our aim, you know, with where we are now, with this, you know, obviously when everything opens up, people will be able to come visit us, and we'll be able to taste and hopefully be able to have a drink. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Well, guys, good luck with yourselves, and I will, like I say, going to purchase the bottle for sure.
Yeah, of course.
So, guys, obviously, this will be available on our YouTube channel. If you are watching via that, please subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications of any of the future ones. There will be another Rum on the Couch by hopefully the end of the week. I've got an idea of a request I've had, so fingers crossed, that was going to be quite different as well. I'm going to be over in Sheffield next week to do another one of a Rum on the Couch away from the couch, which again will be a brand spanking new brand here to the UK as well. Beautiful looking bottling. I'm hopefully going to be very impressed with the liquid. Again, never tried it, so let's fingers crossed have 2 out of 2 when it comes to experiencing something live. And like I say, guys, hopefully you'll be here next year at Rumfest, if not definitely the year after, to impress not just Manchester, but the rest of the UK. And well, we have international guys and girls who come over, so you never know. You might start seeing Witch Kings in Sweden. You never know.
Oh,
ladies and gents, hopefully you've been impressed with this. Like I say, follow the guys on their social media, check them out at the Makers Markets, purchase the bottle if you're intrigued enough already via their website, and I will see you all on the other side. Thank you.